Today it is Saturday, which yet again means that it's Parkrun Day, and today we are off to Kingsway Parkrun. So Kingsway Parkrun is located to the southwest of England and it's located in Quedgeley, which is in the south of Gloucester. The run is predominantly around the Kingsway Sports Ground, however it does go all the way up to the Kingsway Manor Farm Park as well. Not only is this weekend my birthday weekend, I'll actually be sharing it with Kingsway Parkrun's 9th birthday anniversary. So this is going to be great, and it is all hula hoop themed and Hawaiian sort of theme, so it should be a bit of a laugh. So a little bit of history of why it's called Manor Farm. Back in 1066, it was actually gifted to the Sheriff of Gloucester by William the Conqueror, and then in 1535 Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn passed through this area, and hence why they decided to call this area Kingsway. And the more modern history to the area is that it was actually used as an ammunition storage place from 1915 to the end of the First World War. The RAF then took it over and used it as a site for maintenance of aircraft and other motor vehicles, and then in 1995 it was returned back to the parish, and to this very late date we now use it for Parkrun every Saturday. The course is actually ran on a mixture of terrains from asphalt paths to gravel aggregate and finally grass as well, but there's a very small amount of grass which you do have to run around, so therefore I would say trail shoes or road shoes are perfectly fine unless it is a really wet day, or it has been a wet day for the previous few days, because then the grass section could be a little bit boggy and wet, so I'd probably recommend trail shoes in that case. It's also good to note that the course is buggy / pram friendly, dog friendly, and there are toilets right close to the start of the run too. And actually on the day I saw someone pushing it around a pram quickly hop out with the child to go to the toilet, then hop back in the pram and carry on with the run, so that was pretty funny to see too. The course is also very flat, which is always nice to hear, and it isn't too busy either, which is good as well. At the start it's quite a wide start, so you can quickly funnel into position and then get to your right pace before completing the run. For this reason I would give it the potential for a PB course, so we'll have to see how we get on with it, because I think that this one could be a pretty quick time today. Now if you've got this far and you're still wondering what a parkrun is, it is essentially a 5k run which is ran by a group of volunteers who both time and marshal the event. Then once you get to the finish line you get given a token. This is scanned along with your own personalised barcode, and then they'll send you an email later on with your time and position on it. Time for a quick summary then. So as we know, it's a 3-lapper. It is quite windy, the course as well, and as you can see it is on a mixture of terrains. This is the grass section just there too. You can see in that top left hand corner that is a very flat course with an elevation gain of only 6 meters and only a max elevation of 24 meters as well. And now let's take a look at the course in a bit more detail then. So you're going to start off down here just to the south of the Kingsway BMX pump track. You're going to make your way up north before turning left at the sports pavilion. You then turn right fairly quickly after before heading your way towards the Kingsway Manor Farm Park. You turn right and then left again. This is quite a tight path, probably 2 people can fit next to each other, and then you make your way all the way around to the top end of the Kingsway Manor Farm Park. You run towards the playground, you turn right, do a loop around that playground, you then come onto the grass section. You do a quick little loop of the Manor Farm Park before heading your way down south back on an asphalt path. You're then going to turn left and head your way towards the Tesco Express before turning right along this path. This is all path. You head your way all the way down south before heading through these trees in the bottom right hand corner. Now this is where you head onto, you'll see as well that they are building houses and stuff on that left hand side, and they were doing that on the day too. You're going to work your way all the way around the perimeter of that new housing estate, turn right, followed by a sharp left turn and another sharp right turn before you head your way back to where you started. You do then do that lap another 2 times, and then once you've done that you peel off to the right hand side onto the grass where the finish line is. So it may look quite confusing, however on the day they marshal out really well, and there are plenty of signs and plenty of people, so you can't really go wrong unless you're at the front, and then you've got the responsibility of the direction because everyone is probably going to follow you. Now the course records which have been set at Kingsway Parkrun. So we have the fastest male, which was Ben Robinson with a time of 15 minutes and 12 seconds. The fastest female was Zoe Wassell with a time of 17:58, both incredible incredibly fast times, and the average number of runners is 172, which I'd probably say is the average sort of size for a park run, with an average time of 29 minutes and 51 seconds. And now let's take a look at my fastest times at these different park runs. So we've now completed a total number of 45 park runs, with a number of locations being 30. My best finish position was 4th, and that was at Zielony Jar in Poland. My fastest times range from 22:32, which was set at Somerdale Pavilion, all the way down to Street, which has a time of 23 minutes and 14 seconds. So we're looking to try and knock Street off the leaderboard this week. So as you can see, as we make our way towards the start, that it is fairly busy park run to begin with, but then it does space out pretty quickly. It's also a decent day today. It's not been raining, so the grass sections should be fairly hard for us as well. We did take trail shoes nevertheless, so we should be ready for the grass bit as well, which is what we like to see. And now we are about to get going, so we'll be starting in 3, 2, 1, and we are off, and the timer has started up there in that top left hand corner. We can, as you can see, we have started in the grass section, as we are going to cut onto the tarmac in just a second, but we're trying to get to our sort of pace, then we're not lagging behind people. So it's a pretty quick start on the 4:15 kilometers right now, so we need to slow it down a little bit. But I always find with park runs that you do need to be careful, as everyone does set off pretty quickly. But we're back now on the tarmac paths, so it's nice and flat for us, and it is a perfect day, as we said earlier, for the grass as well, so it's not too boggy. As you can see, it is quite a windy start, but it is all on tarmac until now. So we're going to turn left onto the asphalt path, and this is what the aggregate path, and this is what I was talking about earlier, where if you do want to take over, it's quite difficult in this section because you can only fit 2 people on the path. You can obviously run on the grass there on that right hand side, but do be careful as it could be a little bit bobbly, and you don't want to twist an ankle or anything on the grass verge just there. But we've had a quick start, 1 minute and 26 seconds in, and we've done 300 meters already. But now we're back on that tarmac path, and we're going to be doing a lap all the way around the Manor Farm Park. And then once we've done that lap around, you can see the U-turn there on the map in the bottom left hand corner. So that's once we pass that playground, and then we'll be entering the grass section. So as you've seen, that whole lap was on those tarmac paths, and now this is the U-turn, so it's quite a quick, sharp U-turn, and it will definitely slow you down just for a few seconds, taking a second or so off of your time. And now we're heading up towards the grass section, the playground just ahead of us there on the right. We're going onto the grass now, and as you can see, it wasn't too boggy today. You can tell there by the guy with the buggy there that is not sinking into the ground, so it's perfect conditions for road shoes or trail shoes. But on a wet day, you can probably tell that this sort of grass will get quite wet and boggy, so do make sure to bring trail shoes on those sort of days. But if you want any more information on this course or any of the elevation and things like that, I will leave a link to my Strava in the description below, so you can go and check it out. And that is all the grass section is, so really nice and short before you head your way back onto the tarmac paths. And we're heading now south towards the new housing estate. So we're doing quite well at the moment. We've just gone past 1 kilometre, we're on 1.1 with a time of 4:45. So this is looking pretty quick start to begin with, so if we keep this up, we'll definitely find ourselves on the leaderboard. So we are now at the opposite end of the park that we started on, and we are heading onto this gravel path section. So we're heading towards the housing estate right now. We're doing quite well, 1.3 kilometres in, 5:38, keeping up a good pace as well, and hopefully we can keep this pace for the whole run and try and get a sub 23 potentially for this park run. We've overtaken a few people as well, so as I said at the start, a lot of people go off quite quickly early doors. I like to try and pace myself. I'm getting better and better at it, because I used to be awful at it and I would sprint off way too fast at the start, and then I'd flag towards the end. But I'm seeming to get better at that now, but I'm still finding the 3rd and 4th kilometre the most difficult. There's a slight little incline here, which does feel like an incline as well, because you're having to push it up. And there on the left hand side is some workers doing some work. They're building new houses by the looks of it, but we are still on the asphalt path on the top end of the park run now. before heading our way back to where we started. But that's that gravel section done, and now we're heading back to a very recognisable park. This is where we started on the left hand side, so you can see the pavilion there in the background. This is the final right hand turn before the straight, and you can see the finish line funnel being set up in just a moment as well. So it's a good start, 1 lap done, time of almost just under 7.5 minutes by the looks of it. So if you can duplicate that twice, we'll be looking at a 22-minute time, sort of end of 22 minutes. So this is what we like to see. And there you go, you can see a cute little doggo there pointing us into that right direction. The volunteer doggos are always very cute and keep me going, as I do like to see them. But we are back on this tarmac. As you can see as well, you can run on both sides of that track. So if there are people on the right hand side which are running slightly slower than you'd like, you can go onto the left hand side and speed up past them, or vice versa. But we're still doing quite well at the moment, keeping to a good pace. We're just going right now or turning left back onto that tight asphalt path. But if you are enjoying this video, do make sure to hit that like button and smash the subscribe button as well. It does mean a lot to me when you do so. And also do make sure to let me know of any other tips and tricks in that comment section below, or whether you've ever done this park run or how many park runs you've done. And that is half of the run complete. So the first kilometre we did in a time of about 4 minutes and 26 seconds. The second kilometre was quicker at a time of 4 minutes and 16 seconds. So hopefully the third one we can try and keep this sort of pace. I did actually forget to bring I brought my headphones, forgot to Bluetooth connect them. So I couldn't actually hear my pace, so I kept having to check my phone, which was very frustrating. But we are doing quite well at the moment, and this is looking to be one of my fastest park runs yet. And that is the grass section complete for that second time. So we only have to do that one more time, and then that is all the grass done. The blue guy there that we just overtaking right now said to me, he was like, "Well done." And I was like, well, you'll be overtaking me in a few minutes, and we'll see whether I was right about that later on. But we're doing quite well. 4 kilometres and 10 seconds, 4 minutes and 10 seconds per kilometre right now. So we're doing it pretty quickly. But kilometre 3 is just coming up around the corner. And that is kilometre 3 done. 4 minutes and 25 seconds was that kilometre. So we have kept it under that 4:30 right now, which every kilometre has been so far. So we know that we're doing it pretty quickly, and we are going for a few overtakes here as we go past the slightly slower walkers or park joggers. And now we are heading our way back towards the new building estate on this gravel path. And then we're going for our third and final lap. We finish back at the pavilion. And that is lap 2 complete with a time of 15 minutes. So we are doing it pretty well right now. On the left hand side, you may be able to see the pavilion. On the right there, you can see the finish funnel for that final lap. But in that pavilion is where the toilets are and the cafe at the end. So that is literally just how close it is to the start/finish line, which is great. Still doing quite well at the moment. We are going to be making our way to that left hand side again, sticking to that tarmac path and heading towards hopefully one of our fastest times. But as you can see, in a couple of those sections it was quite tight as you try to slip past the other runners/walkers. And now we are heading towards the grass section again for that final time. So we're doing the lap around the Manor Park fields. Currently doing okay with a time of 16:40-ish. So hopefully we can keep this up. We should be heading for potentially a PB, to be honest. It is quite quick. It's looking like it could be under the 23-minute mark, which is the quickest I've done definitely since injury. this is the final time we are doing that U-turn. You can see there's loads of volunteers as well all around the course because it is quite a windy one, but they are also supportive and pointing you in that right direction so you don't get lost. We're still on the tarmac, but we're now heading back onto the grass for that final time. So we're going to do a quick lap now of the Manor Park Farm. The Manor Park Farm. The Manor Farm Park. There we go, got it eventually. Lap of the grass section complete, so no more grass in this park run. The rest is all on hard standing, so we don't need to worry about that. We are currently about 500 metres to the finish line with a time of 19:37ish, so I'm really pleased with my time so far. We just need to keep this up for the final 500 metres, and then we'll have to see what time we get at the end of that. Also, do be careful in these sort of sections because obviously the middle bit is raised, so you don't want to trip up or down them, especially at the start section as well. If there's people in the way and you can't actually see the floor, and you don't want to trip up one of those. We're now heading onto the gravel section, and just across the park on that other side to our right hand side is where the finish line is. And as you may have seen, a couple of people there wearing Hawaiian tops and the hula theme as well. Apart from that, we've not really seen too many people towards the front keeping to that theme, but that's all good because you can wear what you want on the day and you can do what you like. We're now heading off to that right hand side towards the finish line with a current time of 22:05. So this is a pretty quick time, I have to say, compared to a lot of my other ones where I'm past 23 minutes. Since injury, I have never gone under 23. And some of the pavilions are fastest with 22:32, but it doesn't look like we're going to beat that one today. We're coming around that last corner, so I've decided to start my sprint finish from here. We have picked up the pace a lot, as you can see in that bottom right hand corner. The guy in front of us is now picking up his pace as well, which is good because that is going to spur me on to go that little bit quicker. And look who it is in front of us. It's the guy in blue who I literally said halfway through that he would overtake me, and he did, just beating me there, and I managed to get a time there of 22:46, so I was very pleased with that time, and a position there of 30th for everyone there in their hula stuff. But that is really impressive for me and my fastest since injury, so I am buzzing about that one. And that is Kingsway Parkrun complete, ticking off the K on the alphabet here challenge. That is actually the first K which we have done, and that is what we like to see because we're now over 60% of the alphabet complete. We just need to complete that other 40%, and then we'll get ourselves a t-shirt with all of the different park runs with the letters that we have done so far. So I'm pretty happy with that one. And also, if you do want to go off and do other things after, Gloucester is literally a 10-15 minute drive away from the park run, so it's perfect location really for going and doing stuff after. However, although it is a great park run for a PB, there are obviously a couple of pinch points which do slow you down. So number one is going to be that it's a very windy course, so many turns and bends on this course, which are definitely going to slow your time down by just that little bit. Number two is definitely the U-turn, which is at the playground section before you hit the grass. That U-turn is going to slow you down just that little bit more. Obviously the grass is going to slow you down, but we won't count that one as too much of a pinch point as it was very dry on the day, so it only slow you down by just that little bit. But a lot of other park runs have that grass section too. But apart from that, is just that one more is the tight path towards the start. So that little tight path, if you are trying to overtake people, you probably will lose a couple of seconds there, but apart from that, great one, quick one, and perfect for a PB. And as you could see, it was a very flat park run indeed, and we managed to get a really good quick time, which we'll check out on the leaderboard just a little bit later on. But a huge thank you again to all of the volunteers who were able to motivate us to the end of that park run. All really giddy, excited, and lots of people had hula stuff on as well, which was great to see, keeping to that theme, as it was a great birthday celebrations for Kingsway Parkrun. And as usual, right at the end of each of these videos, we do a tips and tricks section for anyone that is thinking of going to the park run. So we'll start off with the public transport. If you are going by train, it is quite far from the Kingsway Parkrun. It's going to be the Gloucester train station, which is a 10-minute drive from the station an hour and 24-minute walk, or you can get a half an hour bus from that station to the start line. There are multiple different bus stops though that are close to the park runs. Just a couple of examples of those include the Kingsway Health Centre bus stop, and it's a 9-minute walk from there. You obviously have the Asda bus stop, which is about a 5-minute walk. Alton Way to the north side, which is again another 5-minute walk. Or you have the primary school bus stop, which is probably about another 9-minute walk, so all very close proximity. And then finally, parking, if you do want to drive, it is quite limited on site. However, just across the road there is an Asda, which has plenty of spots to park on, but do try and make sure you park away from the entrance and closest to the park run, because obviously you don't want to take up all the spots for the locals which are using the Asda to go and do their food shop. And finally, if you want to grab a post-park run coffee after the event, we did see it a couple of times as we went around the run. It is at the Kingsway Sports Pavilion, so there's lots of refreshing drinks and there's cakes which have been home baked by the volunteers and lots of things like that. Especially on their 9th birthday, there was loads of things which you could get, and it was all very tasty. So that is all of my tips and tricks for this park run, and if you are a regular or you do know a little bit more about Kingsway Park Run, do make sure to let us know of any other tips and tricks down in that comment section below, and I'll try and pin it up to the top. Now looking into my GoPro stats, so as we can see the number of park runs has increased to 46 and the locations to 31. Our finish position staying the same, but Kingsway Park Run is now the second fastest park run which I have done with a time of 22:46, only 14 seconds off of my Summerdale Pavilion time. So I was really happy with that, and that has been my quickest since my ACL injury last year. But this is going to be it for Kingsway Park Run. We had a really good time. The volunteers definitely made it. Although it's just like a bog standard park, it is a really quick one and a very flat one too, which is what you like to see. Last week we did head over to Sharpen Road Playing Fields Park Run, which is actually on an old railway line as well, so that was a pretty quick one, so you can go and check that out here, or you can go and check out all of the other park runs which I've done in that worldwide park run playlist. So that includes ones in Poland, Finland, Norway, Belfast, lots of different locations there. But next week we are heading off to Wales to the Coed Cefn Pwllti, which is known as the hilliest park run in the UK, so you definitely do not want to miss that one. So I hope you'll enjoy this one though, and I'll see you all in the next one.